Principles of user interface, UI: layout, consistency, feedback, efficiency, responsiveness, accessibility, and aesthetics. Now, a program's user interface relates to how its software allows for users to interact with the program. The graphical user interface, or GUI, is the standard for UI design, essentially where we have a variety of graphics on screen, and then when users click on them, they execute commands within the system. Now, GUI design differs between whether we're using a program on a desktop computer or whether we're using an app on a mobile device, because essentially how the users are interacting with those, whether through pointing and clicking with devices or touch screens with their fingers, elements need to be designed differently. But essentially, they're all doing the same thing. We press and commands are executed. And even right now, this whole idea of how UI should look is evolving with the growth in virtual reality too. But in essence, we're going to focus on the principles of UI that need to be kept no matter what we're developing for, although they need to be adapted for what we're specifically developing for. But let's start looking at a few of these principles for UI. And the first one is that of screen layout. The UI should be clear and understandable, making it easy for users to know their options and what actions they can take. So essentially, it supports the user's navigation through the system. They can see where they need to go, what buttons they need to click in order to execute commands that they wish to do. The next area is that of consistency. Consistent design within and across system interfaces help users learn and interact the system more efficiently. Essentially, when I'm on my first screen and I go to my next screen, the theme and colors of both screens should be familiar and they look like they're a part of the same program. But also, there's that consistency in that buttons are in the same kind of location, especially things such as navigation bars and exit and logout bars. They're all in the same location for me to find. So I'm not always looking in all over the screen to find how to do basic functions of the system. It should kind of make sense because it was similar on the previous screen as well. So this supports usability by minimizing confusion and basically ensures that common symbols, icons, and layouts, the users are familiar with them, and it reduces the learning curve of the user having to understand with the program, because pretty much the foundations are set, hopefully on those first few interfaces they interact with. Next, we have a visual feedback. The system should provide immediate feedback to the user's action, informing them about what has been done and if any errors have occurred. So if I press a button within an actual program, there should be a slight animation or a changing in color to show that my actual input has been registered. So that is a visual feedback. I can see a change has happened. Now, if that button press didn't go correctly, I should also then see a error message come up and say there has been an error and let me know there's been an error, and I might have to retry or do something different. And good visual feedback will tell me what to do in the case of an error as well. So that might include the use of pop-ups and windows to let me know if an error has occurred. But essentially, even with the regular on-screen objects, the icons, the buttons, I should see some sort of visual animation or feedback that I am clicking and executing things and everything is going well through the visual feedback. The next area is that of efficiency. Okay, the UI should be designed to streamline and simplify user tasks, minimizing the steps required to achieve goals and enhance productivity. So the way objects are laid out makes logical sense. So traditionally people read top down, left to right, all right, at least in Western cultures. So with that in mind, that is the way a screen should be structured too, with main headings at the top, potentially right at the top of the screen, the navigation bar, so that tools that I might be using commonly are always easy to see and easy for me to find. And then as the actual message or narrative of the story goes, or whatever information providing, should gradually go down the screen there, and the supporting buttons and actions should correlate accordingly. So that all relates to efficiency, okay, mapping it out to suit the user's workflow. The next area is that of responsive design, and this is that all applications are often not developed or be used on the same type of device. And we already alluded to that at the beginning of this video, that you might be viewing this video on your VR headset, a desktop computer, or a mobile device. So good design means that whatever way I make my software application, it can adapt to different screen sizes and resolutions in order to maximize the amount of users experiencing the actual program that I have developed, all right, and ensure that compatibility with all these different types of devices. All right, so that can actually map out to different resolution sizes based on what devices the user's using on their end. And that's good for me because I want as many people watching this video as I can. The next area is that of accessibility. Designing for accessibility ensures that systems are usable by people with a whole range of abilities, including those with disabilities, thereby reaching a broader audience, okay, which is one of the great things about technology. It opens up opportunities because we can modify technology and the way information is presented to get to these audiences who may have disability or live in remote locations through communications networks. So this is made up of possible through integrating accessibility tools where you can adjust the sizes of elements, invert colors, or make use of audio such as text to audio features, which can convey information in different ways to maximize the way users wish to learn from a specific system based on the supports they need. The final area is that of aesthetics, and that's probably the one that's easiest to link with UI design. Essentially, how the actual system looks, how the interfaces looks, the use of fonts and colors. A visually appealing interface can significantly enhance the user experience, making interactions enjoyable and engaging. You want a nice color scheme. The types of fonts you're using should match the purpose and feel you're trying to give with your system. Whether you want to use softer colors to kind of target a younger audience, or mapping the color scheme to an organization's branding where you use those colors in your design. It all adds to the design and supports both experience but also the user interface itself in letting users know what they're using it for and giving them the correct feel for the application they're using. So I hope this video has given you an understanding of different user interface principles, essentially about the visual design of the actual application you're developing and how that design establishes a feel for your program, helps the user navigate the system and know everything is going all right, and then through really good design is adaptive to different user needs and supports them in different ways in order to help them use the information for its purpose and find what they're looking for.